Hi, welcome to Layman's Guide to Cracking the Coding Interview. And today we have one of the simplest problem, and it is to find the third largest number in the given array. So here's our problem. So given a non-empty integers array, return the third max number in the array. So when you simply have three numbers, then we just return the smallest one. So here in this case, 1, 2, 3, 1 is the third smallest, or the third largest, sorry, I should say that. So it should be the third largest number. And in this case we have an input of 18259637, and by just looking at it we can figure out 9 is the highest and 8 is the second and the 7 is the third highest. So when we have such kind of questions, so what comes in your mind? What data structures? Most probably the heap, I think so, because heap have a root node and the left and the right node, and we can make it as a max, second max, and the third max. So this is the data structure I thought about. So we have a max as a root and the second max on the left and the third max at the right. So this is the data structure I came up with, and I can use this to find the third max in a given array. Initially we need to assign the value for each of them. So in this case we have the first max. It should be the way around. Let me just edit it right away here. It should be, because this one should be the max, right? So max, we initially put the system size, that max size, right? Because this is the Python library. So in the Python they give you the max value of the integers using this keyword system.max size. If you're using the Java, then it's integer.max size. So you'll get the max value of any integer number. And here in this case we have this as a max and second max and the third max. So this is the smallest, second smallest, third smallest, or in the other way. So now we have an input. This is a given input which is right over here. So we have that input. So now we going from 0th index to nth index. And when you go from 0th index to nth index, we compare each and every item with the three items here in the heap. Here we had the first as a system.max size earlier. So then when you compare, 1 is obviously greater than the system.max size plus 2. It should be a plus 2. And then on the second one, on the second highest would be the first max now, and on the third highest earlier would be the second max. So this is how we swap the values here. Then when you go to the second item, we have a 8. 8 is the max. So we compare, first we compare what the value in the first on the heap. So whenever, if the value in the index, given index, is higher, then we swap that to the second one, and then we compare the second value to the third. So whichever is greater, we just swap it here. Obviously the anything that swapped from the first would be the greater than the third one, so we don't need to take care. So immediately we put the value right over here. The first one was here, we just immediately put it here. So we have an empty slot here. From the root we put it into the left, and on the root we put the value from the array. So we have a 8, 1, and first max. So when you go here, it's going to be a little bit more clear. So now when we have a 2, so just by looking at it, it is the first highest, and then the second and the third. And when you go to the 5, obviously we wouldn't need 1 anymore. 2 would go here, 5 would come here. So exactly what I just discussed here. And when we have a 9, we first compare with the first one. So this 9 would be the highest, so 8 would go here and the 5 would go here. So 9, 8, 5. And then we have a 6, we compare here, no, and then we compare here, no, we compare here, yes. So we remove 5, we put 6. So we have a 6 here. Now we're comparing with the 3 with all the items here, and it's not even close enough to any of the numbers here. So we just pass by, and when you reach to the 7, so earlier we had a 6, so we compare with 9, it's still the less than 9. We compare with the 8, less than 8, compare with the 6, it is greater than 6, we put it here. Then we are at the end, we just simply return the value at the third from the heap, right? So let's write a program. Actually I have already wrote the program, I'll simply show you. So here we go. I created a class called heap, and then I assigned I created a constructor with three parameters. So I call it as a f, s, and t, like a first, second, and third. And for the first, as I mentioned, I assigned the max value plus 2, and I put it the negative just to make sure it's the negative one, because whenever new number comes in, we have to make sure that that number is higher than this. We can put this for the long time. And we also need to check that whether the given input is at least of 3 or no, because we need to find the third max number. So we need to make sure whether we have at least 3 numbers. If so, then we proceed. If no, then we don't need to take care of that, which I didn't do right here. I'm supposed to do that. So let's just talk about the class here. So we have a heap class, and then we add the items. Whenever we add the items, we compare with the first one. If it's greater than the first one, obviously it's greater than the second and greater than the third. So we don't need the third position. So on the third position, we put the second one. On the second one, we put the first one. And on the first one, we put the added value right over here. If not, if the added value is smaller than the first one but greater than the second one, in that case, we don't need the third one, and we remove the third one, and then we put the second value on the third, and then on the second position we put we put the value. And the last condition we need to check is if it's greater than the third but less than other. So in that case, we just simply put the value in the third positions. That's it. It's the simplest problem I have ever seen, I guess. And once we have this class, we iterate through all the input, and then we just add it to that. And I had to check that the length. We have an input. If the length of input is less than 3, then we simply return -1, nothing. So in that case, it should be more than 3, then only we can find out that. So, and we just pass all the value. We call the heap. We create the heap object right over here, and then on that object we have the method called add. We are adding the value here. Then we, at the end, we just return the third value. So heap.t, because we have a fst and t is the third value. So here in this example, 7 should be the third highest, and then I want to run that, so we should see that exactly we have that. So let's just put 1, 2, and 3 only. 1, 2, 3. So we're supposed to get value 1 as an output. Here we have. So it's quite simple problem, and I just created the heap, and I think that's the easiest way to do. Other way you could also do, while we are iterating through the input value, you could just do the comparison. But for me, I think this would look more clear and much easier. Thank you.